Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to welcome you to our presentation, Meet the Early Years Leadership Team. With me today to explain to you a little bit how the early years work at SISD, I have Miss Anne-Marie Stekelum, our PYP coordinator, and Miss Soné, the deputy head of early years. So thank you for attending this meeting. I hoped that this year we would be able to do it live. Unfortunately, still an empty auditorium. I keep my hopes high for next year. But thank you for all the parents who are attending online. And I know some of them are in the Parents Cafe. I would have loved to let you in, but I don't think it's possible. So big year for your children, first year in pre-K and first year probably in a big school. Some of you were in nursery, some of them were at home, some of them were not in school at all. So it is a very stressful moment. And I think for the pre-K, it's a very stressful moment. The older one, they have questions in their head. Will I have my friends? Will I like the teacher? Will the teacher ask me difficult questions? In pre-K, it's a whole different story. It's this anxiety and the separation. I know for some of you it's really hard because they cry so hard and you think they're never going to stop. But believe me, most of them after 5 minutes in the classroom, they do very well. And for some of them, it takes a little bit longer, but our teachers are very experienced and they work with you. And I hope that your first week at school really so far is going well. So when your children are going to be a bit more grown up, and remember that it's not because they in KG1 and KG2 that it's that easy. They still have stress. Imagine yourself when you go for a new job and you have to enter that building where you're going to have new colleagues and everything. It's the same kind of stress. And then after a couple of days, it gets much better. So today on our agenda, we're going to present who we are and what's new in early years and in the school system in Dubai. We're going to talk to you about our safety in early years. We're going to talk as well about our vision for education in early years. We do have a vision. And what are our goals for this year? We will explain to you a little bit because some parents are already asking, but what happens if my child is not behaving, or what is our behavior policy? The school timings, I think they're important. Siblings childcare organization, just to make things clear. I will talk a little bit about the after-school activity as well. And then we're gonna maybe talk about languages, co-teaching, IB STEAM program, and the important dates to retain. So let's introduce ourselves. So Anne-Marie has been with us, the three of us actually, we've been in the school since the beginning, since the opening of the school. We started that school when there was no road to come to the school, believe it or not. And we're still here and we're very proud of what we've accomplished with everybody working at SISD and with you parents. Anne-Marie is the PYP coordinator for early years. We're very fortunate to have an early years PYP coordinator. When we have an inspection from KHDA, we have our own inspector. Dubai authorities, and especially the one from the Minister of Education, they value the early years because it's the foundation. So they really want to give their best attention. So having a PYP coordinator is really helping us to develop the best strategy and also to support the teacher in the classroom. It is very important and we're very grateful to have her. Miss Soné, for you who have been at the school before, you know her. She's the heart and soul of early years. We choose each other when we started working as in the leadership team of early years. And you can talk to her or me, it's exactly the same thing. Amina, myself, I come from Switzerland, even though my name says I'm Egyptian as well. My dad was Egyptian and my mom was Swiss. I was born and raised in Switzerland. I worked for 10 years as a school principal for the public system in Switzerland. And then I followed my husband to Dubai. I fell in love with Dubai, so I decided to stay. And I started as a grade 5 teacher at SISD, and when a leadership position was available, I applied to it and I never regretted. I miss my students that I had very much. Some of them are still at the school. They're in grade 12 now. And but I enjoy my work as a head of early years very much. Another person who's extremely important in early years is Miss Ivory Padua, the early years assistant. She does everything. She runs around and she does the attendance. She also communicates with you when you call her. Very important, let her know if your child is not coming into school. You inform the teachers, but always let her know, copy her in your messages because she's doing the attendance. Attendance is very important in case of a fire drill or if there is a fire. We need to make sure we have every children accounted for. Administrative task for the whole school. She works also from time to time from admission and other departments in the school. She's the one who prepared all these lovely envelopes that you receive for with the vaccine badge. So thank you to her. Childcare logistic. She runs the group of CRA who are doing the childcare. Room booking system and appointments, and the lost and found. You've lost something, she's the one who's going to find it, definitely. Since the beginning of the year, we received on the 24th of August the new protocols from the KHDA. So for those who are new to Dubai, the KHDA is the bureau who is implementing all the rules and regulation by the Ministry of Education of the UAE. So every Emirates in the UAE has a bureau. In Abu Dhabi, it's called ADEC. In Dubai, it's called KHDA. I'm not sure about the other Emirates, but those are the two important that I know of. KG is very important. They inspect us. They come, last year they came every week to inspect us to make sure we are respecting the safety protocol, and they check everything. And we did quite well, and we will continue to do well with them. We had an inspection this week and he was very pleased with what he saw. So what are the changes based on the new protocol called Together Again Dubai? We've got the return of the after-school activity, the sports activities and the swimming. So for you children in pre-K, they're not going to have swimming in school during school time because we've decided a long time ago that they were too small and it's too cold and they're not really beneficiating from it. But if you want to have an external swimming activities, then you can register them through the information that you receive from Mr. Rob Duncan. Last year we didn't have any swimming at all because the changing room were not a safe environment. Now this year they've decided that yes, we can use the changing room. So you can book the after school activity for swimming with, I think, Speed or Strikes. Performance, assembly and special events are back on. We've booked a very nice show and the little ones, they're going to appreciate it. It's a company comes all the way from England. It's called SK4. And this year they're going to present Aladdin. So we're going to have a Genie. So it's going to be really fun for the children. The information will come to you in the coming weeks. School trips and camp can go ahead. With the pre-K, we're not sure that we are ready to go out there with them, especially if they have to respect 1 meter distance. We might lose a couple of them, especially if we go to the Dubai Aquarium. So we're going to really see how we can maybe have a couple of excursions and school trips and see how we can do it the best. But it's really challenging with the little ones, the very little ones. We have the expo, but I think it will not be age appropriate for the pre-KG because it's a long ride and without toilet in the bus and everything, I don't think we're going to be able to do this. Buses will run at 100%. So if your child is on the bus are running at 100% capacity. Social distancing. So we went last year, the children had to respect 1.5 meters. And the pre-K students were amazing. They knew where to sit on their table and to respect the social distancing, especially when the inspector was around. That was the most important thing. So this year, this distance has been reduced to 1 meter, and we've set up the classes accordingly. One big change as well is the learning groups. We used to have last year 3 learning groups in the classroom. with 8 children in the learning groups. This year it's only 2. So there is more interaction happening, more social, emotional skills developed because of the bigger number in the learning groups, and this is very good for the students. Online provision. So for pre-K, it's not really that crucial, but we will not offer online provision, distance learning, unless there is an exemption that has been approved by KHDA. We don't have any children in pre-K who have distance learning. It might happen that if the whole class has to go into quarantine because of a positive case, then we will provide distance learning. But so you know that from the 3rd of October, every request for distance learning has to go through the KHDA. What will stay the same? Mask must be worn at all time by you parents, by us, a member of staff, and the teacher. The new thing this year is that the KHDA say it's okay to have a visor, and the teacher can pull down the mask, and especially when we do sounds, when she's trying to explain things to the children. So this is a big improvement. But the moment she finishes, she has to put her mask back on. Continued regular sanitization. So this is something very important at our school. We have an amazing cleaning team on the ground who come into the classroom and sanitize everything every day, especially the bathroom, but also the toys and everything. And every weekend we have a deep cleaning. The teachers also, if the children are using iPad, in pre-K not so much, but maybe later the year when we do some activities, they will use maybe the iPad for 10, 15 minutes, even less than this. Then the iPads will be sanitized between the children. Pre-packaged food can be found in the canteen. So if you need to buy something for your child, you can still, the parents' cafe is open, the canteen as well. And pick up and drop off procedure, we kept the same. You know that there is a new protocol in place regarding vaccination. So we receive news from the KHDA that only vaccinated parents will be allowed to access the premises. So this is why most of you received an envelope with the little stickers to put on their ID card. And starting from today at pickup, we will have the new procedure in place. If you don't know where to go, you can come through the main door and we will guide you. And starting from tomorrow, if we have parents who are not vaccinated, you will go around according to the map that you receive from the principal, and we will be waiting there to take your child to his classroom. It's just a geographic change, nothing more. Thank you for your understanding. And yeah, so I just explained about this. So I think we're all good to go. Now let's talk about our vision. I think this is important for us because you are trusting us with the most precious element of your family, and it's a very important moment. So we need to tell you about how we do things in early years. So we decided with the team to come up with a vision because I think it's guiding us in everything that we do. We were doing it very intuitively, but now we have a statement, and we're very proud because we worked with the team and we came up with that statement. So we value and nurture students' happiness, well-being, and learning through our core value best. Well-being this year and happiness is very important. It was also last year because of the pandemic, but it's still something that we value. And it is also for the KHDA, who say we have to privilege the well-being of the students and the families and the staff members. Best are the core value of the school. Probably you've seen them around on the website. Bilingual, this is our DNA. This is what we do best, is deliver bilingual education. Excellence, we try to be the best. Sometimes it's not easy because we do things a certain way, and we have to convince people that this is the best way. Sustainability, we're trying to be sustainable. We have an organic garden. We're a sticker-free school, except for the vaccination envelope that went home. But in the classroom, no glitter, because it's plastic. So we try to use recyclable glitter, or I think there is what they call organic glitter. I've seen it in the classroom. And together, we cannot do it without you. We cannot do it without working together. This is very important. We believe that a happy student is a flourishing one. A child who's happy coming to school will thrive, and he will learn, and he will learn things that you can never imagine. It always amazes me when I go in the classroom what our students in pre-K are capable of doing. It's quite impressive. They can talk about their emotion, they can make connections, they can do science experiment. Yes, they're 3 years old, but they can do so many things because they're happy and there's no pressure. They do things through play. It's a play-based activity. So this is very important. Our environment is positive and safe. We value the interaction of the team member in the classroom, but we value also the interaction with the students. We want a safe environment. There is no shouting, there is no sanction, there is no timeout. This is very important. We intend that all the children should enjoy their learning, achieve their potential, and become independent lifelong learner. We want them to learn, and they learn at their own rhythm. So you will have children who will learn faster, and you will have children who will be more interested in what's happening in the garden, with the butterfly, with the caterpillar. This is okay. This is what is interesting them, especially in pre-K. What we do well in early years, and this was said by the inspectors when they came and see us and by other agency, students demonstrate strong sense of personal responsibility. We have this unit of inquiry where children are encouraged to think about others or to do things for the environment. It makes more sense sometimes with the upper grade, but believe me, even in pre-K, they can be thankful for the cleaner who comes every day in the classroom to clean the classroom, or they can be thankful for the lady who brings food. This is very important, and they understand that they have to be respectful of their environment. Student can express ID, and yes, 3-year-olds have ideas and very good ideas. So we really enjoy when they are making connections with their own personal experience, and they say to the teacher, oh, but we do it like this at home. And the teacher will say, oh, it's interesting, and how can we do it better? So yes, it is constant connections with what they know and what they discover. So this is very important. We also like to show strong appreciation of the UAE culture. Some of you will be here for a limited time, a couple of years, and then you're moving on to another destination because this is where your work is taking you. So we like during that short time is to allow the children and you as a family to discover what the UAE are and what is the culture of the UAE. So you can always remember that there is the desert and the animals who lives in the desert and the landmarks of Dubai, and they maybe explain that life is really good in the UAE and that we can really enjoy it. And I think it's very important that we know about the tradition of a country where we live in. Students work well together, and a lot of time you will see 2 or 3 children in pre-K, but also in the other grade working together on a project. I remember one day I was outside and I saw 2 children discovering that object can float or sink, and they discovered it by themselves. The teacher was at a distance just observing, but then they discovered that if they use a stone, it would sink, that if we use a piece of wood, it would float. And this is your experiment, and they've learned something. They show innovative skills. Believe me, they have many ways to do things, especially when they're outdoor on the mud garden. Assessment. We still assess the children. Yes, the children learn through play and they do things with toys and everything, but there is an assessment. And the assessment most of the time is through the observation of the teacher. So teachers spend a great deal of time, observing the children in pre-K. This is very important because there is no need to teach the same thing to a child who knows it already. So it's important for personalized learning that the assessment is rigorous. Teachers measure progress using trackers, and we do have trackers in pre-K. We don't show them to you because we don't want you to put pressure on your child, but this is for the teacher, it's for her planning, and she knows where every single child in her classroom, where he's at and what he's capable of doing and what is his next step. And when they're going to be a little bit more confident in the classroom, we're going to also explain to them what are they capable of doing and what are their next steps. And believe me, they know. So they know they're working towards a certain goal. Curriculum, we have, and we follow an IB curriculum whose benchmark against the Swiss curriculum and the Swiss German curriculum. We also use the English National and the EYFS to make sure we provide the best to your children. So we really keep ourselves updated of all the new amendment of all this curriculum to make sure they're implemented in the classroom. Modification where needed. Some children need different way. It doesn't mean that children learn all the same, so we really adapt the curriculum for them. This is very important. It allows for a better learning experience. Health and safety, students are very well looked after and they know about eating healthy. All the proteins coming from the canteen are organic. And in the last live inspection that we had, the safety and care in early years was rated as outstanding, because every child, they're little, they very precious, so we make sure that you can trust us when you give us your child in the morning. And the last is the support. We warm and caring relationship between the students and the teacher, but also with you parents. I know sometimes you might not understand how we do things, so come and see us, come and tell us, and we will explain. We always listen to parents. It's very important. We cannot do our job if we don't have your perspective and your feedback. This is very important. The early years goal for 21-22. Well-being of the SISD community, focus on mindfulness and positive education. We are implementing this year a positive education curriculum because we wanted to bring this positive education to the daily life in school. I think it's very important, and mindfulness as well. Before the pandemic, we had mindfulness activities, we had music before when the children would come back from break and everything. We're going to go back to this because this is very important. Children are calmer, and when they're calmer, they learn better as well. And also the well-being of the teachers, it's very important to us. We make sure everybody is happy to come to work, and because when a teacher is happy, then also it goes very well in the classroom. And for you as well, parents, as much as we try, we don't want to stress you, even though this week has been a bit difficult, and I thank you for your cooperation, but really, well-being is very important. Learning and teaching, we have some new members of staff this year, so we will ensure that there is consistency in the practice that are in the classroom, that are used in the classroom, and the strategies. We have Anne-Marie is going to go around, I'm going to go around, and so is Miss Sonnet, and we're going to make sure we're supporting the teacher and we're helping them having this line that is going all through the early years. And for some of you who knows us, you know how we are dedicated to what we do in the classroom. Student attainment and progress will continue, raise attainment. Our progress has been outstanding last year, and we hope for the same outcome this year. Attainment is a bit different, but we are looking at very good attainment even for pre-K children. Develop learning space indoors and outdoors. Because of the restriction of the learning groups, we had to explore different way or different place in the school. So the teacher are using the outdoor of the classroom, they're using the garden when the temperature is going to drop down. So there is multi opportunities to learn for the students in different environments. They can, when the weather is going to get better, they can go and listen to a story in the garden, and this is really nice. So now I think I'm going to leave it to Ms. Sonnet to talk to you about early years safety.
Good morning, everyone. It's really nice to know there are people out there, because we are all by ourselves here in the auditorium. But thank you anyway for listening this morning. My name is Tunay. I am the Deputy Head of Early Years. I also am in charge of pastoral care and any child protection concerns that might arise or that you might have. If you have any questions regarding those things, please do come and see me anytime, or if you have concerns as well. So we're just going to look at a few points that is important for our school, that I also want to just make sure that everybody take note of. So registration and late arrival. So in the morning, when you bring your child to school, the teachers will do registration every morning to make sure that all the students are in the classroom, who's in and who's absent or who's late. This is very important that the students come on time. Especially, I know this week we have our staggered timings with pre-K until tomorrow, and then from Sunday we will have normal regular timings. We do ask that you bring the children on time, just so that we can finish the registration. This is also for safety purposes, so that if there's a fire or something happens, we know exactly how many students are in the school, in the class, and we can take them out. So please, if you can arrive on time, that always helps. And it also helps the teacher to start their lessons on time as well. If you do arrive a little bit late, we know the traffic can be sometimes a bit difficult in Dubai, or if there's an accident on the road, that is okay. You can just go to reception when you arrive at school. And the receptionist will then contact the classroom teachers, and the classroom teacher will come and fetch your child from you in the lobby. If you would like to pick up your child a bit earlier than usual, you're more than welcome to do so. Please inform always the classroom teacher that you will be picking up early, so that we can prepare your child's bag and have everything ready for them to go home. Also, please take note that if you arrive to pick up your child in a normal time, to use the QR code to scan it at the front door by the security, and make sure that you scan it only once, because we've seen this week some parents scan twice, and the moment you scan twice, you scan yourself out, so it doesn't show on the iPads for the teachers. So make sure you scan once. Don't scan twice, otherwise you will be logged out. It will not show on the iPad. If you would like to collect your child, we do ask that you do it for early pickup before 1:30 p.m. The reason we ask this is because we have our transition time starts from about 1:45, 1:40, 1:45. So the teachers are quite busy. All three adults are busy with the students, getting the ones ready for childcare, getting students ready to go home, and getting other students ready for the bus. So it's quite a busy time that time. So if you do have an appointment and you need to pick your child up for a doctor or dentist, please do that before 1:30. It would really help us a lot. Then you've seen that we've got all our ID cards and our badges the children are wearing. They have to be worn every day to school. If you have not received your own ID, parent ID or student ID, please ask reception the security desk if you can have your ID card. And please, if you don't receive anything, please come to us and we will follow up as well to make sure that you have all your security badges. Parents have to wear the security badge, the lanyard every day when coming to school, if you're on the premises, and so that the children will take it off when they are in the classroom. The teachers will either put it in their bags or they will put it in a small basket in the classroom, but they will take it home again in the afternoon. At SISD, we also have our health safety procedures, the fire drills and lockdown. Our staff know exactly what the procedures are, and they will be informing the students as well where to go and what to do in case there is a fire or they hear the fire alarm. We do have practices that we have during the year just to keep everybody on their toes. So the students, they like the procedure anyway, depending on the weather. But yeah, they know exactly where to go, where to stand. They follow the teacher, and the teachers, we have 3 adults always looking after the students when going out. We also have lockdown procedure, which is, children love that, especially our little song that plays. So we do practice this as well. We do that on a few times in the year as well. This is also just so that everybody is aware of the procedures. If you have a planned absence, like you have to travel for work or you have a family emergency or something like that, please inform us in advance. If you know that the date you will be traveling and the date you'll be coming back, inform the classroom teachers as well and Miss Amina, so that everybody is aware of it. And if maybe the classroom teacher would like to give you some work or something that the child can do at home, or maybe focus on something while you are gone. So please just help us to give us that in advance so that we can prepare everything for you when going home or going abroad. You've also received 2 forms. One is the permission to release and the other one is the emergency contact details. Please make sure that you have completed them if you have not done so yet. If not, please send them as soon as possible. We really need those forms. It's crucial. We work a lot from those forms, especially when we're going on field trips and things like that. So we need the contact details. And then also birthdays. We love celebrating birthdays at school, of course, and the children are always very eager to have their birthday celebrated. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to have food in from the outside, but you are more than welcome to order. We have from Swiss Canonica in the Parent Cafe, we have some healthy muffins, or there's popcorn, or there's juice. You can decide. It is at an extra cost, but you're more than welcome to go down to the Parent Cafe and order there what you need, and then it will be delivered to the classroom on the day of your child's birthday. It's just something to note. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask as well. Then we get to our behavior. So you can find our behavior policy in the parent handbook on the website. Our behavior policy is we encourage positive behavior. Adults model this behavior, and we also use our IB profiles. So if you hear words like he's principled or he's caring, that's a very good thing. The children are learning. And we also purchased our Positive Education Enhanced curriculum this year for our early years section, which all the staff will be using. It will support a lot with the behavior. It will help with, there's also a part where the teachers can do mindfulness, or there's brain breaks that the teachers can do with the students. Everything, it's a lovely curriculum, all worked out, and we are very excited to see how this will go for the whole year. If you have questions about behavior, of course, you are more than welcome to come and see us. So school timings for KG2, we've already started this yesterday from 7:30 to 8 o'clock is their arrival window. KG1 has started yesterday as well from 7:45 to 8:15. And then, of course, pre-K, we have our normal timing starting from Sunday, and that would be the arrival window is from 8 to 8:30. Again, please make sure that you are not later than 8:30, as our registration will be closing around 8:30, and we would really like everybody to be in by that time. And departure for all our students are at 2:20. We do open the doors a little bit earlier, depending on how many parents are in the lobby. So if we do allow the children out by 2:10, we have to do that so that we don't want everybody standing in the sun outside in the heat. And yeah, so please be on time for departure as well. Always remember that children get very anxious if parents are not on time. So we do urge you to come on time. We are looking again for lovely room parents this year. We've had lovely room parents last year. It was very supportive. They worked well with our early leadership team, with the teachers, and we were very thankful to have them. The room parent will be in charge of communication between the teachers and the parents, and also the parent forum committee. This communication usually happens via WhatsApp group. The room parent will be in charge of getting all or putting the parents on the WhatsApp group, getting the numbers. We do ask, though, if you do the WhatsApp groups, please let's keep it positive on the WhatsApp groups. And if you have any questions or concerns, that might not be the place to raise it. You are more than welcome to come to either Amina or me, or Anne-Marie if it's an academic question. We will gladly answer it for you. We have an open door policy always. We are always in the foyer in the morning. If you have a question, you're more than welcome to ask. But we do ask that the WhatsApp groups are only kept for positive communication, for information purposes of maybe something like the field trip is happening tomorrow, or remember to dress up your child, it's character day. So it's only for those purposes that you need it. If you are interested in becoming a room parent, please contact your classroom teacher with a short description of why you are interested, and the classroom teacher will then decide which parent they will have for a room parent. So you're more than welcome to read up on it. It's also on the website in the parent handbook if you want more information about the room parents. All right, and Ms. Amina, thank you very much.
So sibling childcare, just a few words, because I know sometimes our procedure are a bit complicated. So normally we used to have, before the pandemic, we used to offer childcare for every child. Because of the regulation and the precaution, the sanitary precaution we have to take, we cannot offer childcare to everyone. So we offer childcare to the siblings. It means if your child has an older brother or sister in primary or in secondary, we will keep your child, even though it's a very long time for the little ones, especially at the beginning of the school year, but we will keep them until 3:30. So if this is the case for you, we ask you to come at 3:30 or 3:25, collect the little one first from the early years building, and then go out with him and have your older child. It's easier like this for us. So the childcare goes from 2:30 to 3:30. We take care of it. We take the children. Usually they have a place where they play for a little bit outside. They have a nice snack. So please, if you are sending food, please provide snacks for the childcare moment. Some of them at the beginning of the school year will fall asleep again, even though they have a relaxing time in the classroom. They will fall asleep again because it is tiring. So sibling childcare is an ASA because you have to register, and we cannot take children who are not registered. If you miss the registration date, you send an email to Ivory and then we will approve it, but we need to have an official registration. Please remember to collect the children on time. The staff members who are taking care of childcare, usually they finish their day with childcare and they have to catch up a bus. So if you're late, they miss their bus and they have to stay for an extra 45 minutes at school. Childcare is not an ASA, so you can have childcare every day of the week. It's better for the little ones if it's regular, but we understand that if you want childcare only Monday and Tuesday, this is okay. We're flexible. It's just the changing one week to the other, which gets a bit complicated. The children get lost, and it's sometimes, for us as well. What happens if you're late? So if your child is not registered for childcare, your child is not going to go into childcare. He will stay with the teacher until you come. We're very understanding when there is circumstances, so just inform us and we will do the necessary. But please inform us. If we don't know, it's complicated for us to take the appropriate decision. So let us know if there's an incident on the road, if there is anything, an accident on the road, we will sure keep your child and wait until you arrive at school. No electronic device allowed, phones, tablets, MP3, smartwatches. They do watch cartoons sometimes. This is childcare, it's not an after-school activity. So, but they do play outside, there is reading, there is playing, there is drawing, so there is all kinds of activities. So, also, you receive an email that after-school activity are starting, external. You will get an email about internal ASA for early years, but probably it's going to be once a week. We cannot have twice a week, not yet. And it's going to be on a fixed day, which is probably be on Sunday. So it means that every Sunday, the students who sign up for an ASA internal ASA in early years will stay until 3:30. If you want to come and pick up your child at 2:20, this is okay. But we offer this possibility to provide one after-school activity. I know you've received information from Mr. Duncan. We will give you all the details probably by next week. Thank you. Anne-Marie?
Good morning, parents. Like Amina was saying, I have been working at this school since 2015 when it opened. And although I'm new to the role, I am not new to Swiss. I've watched the evolution of our co-teaching model and bilingualism over the last few years grow, and I'm absolutely delighted to be taking this role this year. And it's a real shame that I can't actually talk directly to anyone this morning. But if you do see me in the hallways or outside classrooms, please come forward and say hello and introduce yourself, because I can't wait to get to know the parent community a little bit better. So I'm going to take you through a couple of academic points here, mostly around languages, co-teaching, bilingualism, and then our STEAM program. So when we talk about the pre-K, there's two different programs of choice. The first one is that the children are either taught by a French or German teacher, exposed to the English by their English TA and CRA. They have also got the STEAM program, where they have one English teacher and access to a French and German teaching assistant as well. And of course, they also have a classroom assistant. The STEAM program has 3 French additional language lessons that are built into their week, or German if that has been your option. And they have 1 Arabic lesson as well per week. So with our program in the early years, there's a lot of co-teaching. So there's a lot of adults in the classroom. So the teachers are really responsible for the co-planning and assessing of your children's learning and their journey over the year. There's always equal amounts of French and German lessons running parallel to the English language ones, and it's balanced across the week, although this point is really more so for the for KG1 and KG2, so that's coming forward for you guys next year. When it comes to the classroom setup this year, the teacher of your class will be alternating in between the 2 learning groups, and they will be supported, of course, by the TA and the CRA as well. And then all of the contents, so like things like our unit of inquiry, which includes science and social studies, the arts and math, they will not only be taught in English, but they will also be taught through French and German as well in your program also, so that the children are developing their language skills that way. It's important to remember as well, in one very important point, and the question I get a lot as a teacher is about where my child is and on their learning journey. So it's very important to mention to parents that all learning in the early years is personalized, and our teachers work on a kind of an observation, record, teach, assess, observe cycle that goes round and around. And September is a month when they really are getting to know your children and where they're at, to start to kind of think about what their needs are. Then they make the lessons and they plan lessons that are catered to your child and their child's needs. So it's a very important point to remember that, because each child has their own learning journey, and in that way that your child has their own learning journey, their progress is also quite individual as well. No 2 children are the same, and they all come from very different backgrounds, they have very different experiences, and of course their personality as well is going to have play an important role there as well. But if you do have any concerns at any time about the progress of your child, your class teacher, of course, is the one that knows them best, and they're the first person I would recommend you approach. And of course, I'm always also there as a support as well, and my email is here that you can reach out and contact me if you have a question. Just to talk about the bilingual program as well that runs in our early years. When we think about bilingualism, we have this lovely definition here in red, the first one, that it is the regular use of 2 different languages or dialect in daily life. And I really like that, because a bilingual person is not 2 monolingual people who are trying to exist in one person. Yes, the systems of languages have their own way, but they are very much interdependent, and the influence, your child's ability in one language influences their ability to gain and to access that other language. They're very much interconnected. At the moment in academic circles, there's a lot of talk, especially around language acquisition, this new term called translanguaging. And that is something that we have observed naturally happening in our classrooms over the last few years here at Swiss. So the second definition here in red at the top says, is one for translanguaging. It is the use, how you use your language, all your language resources to communicate. And this is something that we've witnessed, like I said, in the classrooms. So as the program has developed, we have observed that children are a lot more comfortable and a lot more opening to languages when both languages they can use and access, and they're hearing both of those languages in the day. So an example of what translanguaging might look like, for example, would be if I were to ask my class of children, my French children, a question in English, and they start to respond to me in French. Or if I was to read Boucle d'Or and Les Toiseurs to a group of English-speaking children, and they're all hanging on to each and every single word because they already know that story. They know it very well in English as the Three Bears. So that's another example. I often, especially I'm originally a KG2 teacher, if you don't know me, and one that I also see as well in writing is when French phonics might start to appear in my English writing. And a lot of times that can confuse parents and upset them and they're worried, but it's actually completely normal because they are now trying to figure out when and where and how they use this particular set of phonics. But on that point, when you have something like that happening, this is how we work it out in the classrooms. So there are set language lessons because as we do recognize that they are two separate language systems, certain things do need to be taught. So for example, if I were to see some French phonics appear in my English writing, then I would start to take those children and have a little session with them in English to teach them what the appropriate sound is for English, as an example. All of our disciplines are taught in both languages. So that means that children who might not be so confident in the other language still have the support of their first language while they try and gain the skills to communicate and the confidence to communicate in their second language. And this year as well, we have our universal key language indicators. This is something that is running throughout the whole school, where we are looking at what is common between language learning. What are the skills that you will have in reading, whether you are French, German, English, or Arabic? And what we're noticing as well is that we focus on these, and then we have our set lessons then, like we've already described, where we can then have a look at what the specific needs for our own language system is, and make sure that we deliver it to the children. Another big question I get as a teacher has always been, how long is it going to take my child to be fluent? And sadly, it does take some time. So in order to explain how the process works, I have this particular slide here. So the first description of language acquisition is our basic interpersonal communication skills, or BICS as they call it. And it gives a time frame there of about 6 months to 2 years. Now, the BICS, it's very important to remember that's social language. It's very much day to day, it's them expressing their needs. Examples would be things like playing in the playground when they're using the language there, or when they're with friends on play dates at lunchtime, or playing in the classroom. The BICS social language, that is very much undemanding. All of those scenarios are where the children are fun and they're happening to be learning language on top of that. That is why play is so important in the early years, especially in our special context with bilingualism. Then we also have CALP, which is our cognitive academic language proficiency. And this one develops, they think, in around 4 to 7 years in a scenario like ours here at school. This is our academic language, and it's very different because this particular type of language is abstract, it's specialized, and it's very much kind of rooted in a context. If you think about math language, for example, and how you would have certain terms that you use there. But the difference between them is with CALP, this language skills are always also layered on top of expressing and using skills. So having to do things like describing, comparing, classifying, synthesizing, evaluating information. So it's like a higher order level of language usage. So that one takes a lot longer. So when we have a look in our early years setting, and if we look at the phases in language acquisition, there's 5. We have pre-production, early production, and then speech emergence would be the key ones that we would have and see a lot of in the early years between the 2 different language programs running in our classrooms. For pre-production, this is the silent period, and this is where children are not speaking. And that does not mean that they're not learning. They are very much learning. In this pre-production phase, children are recording language in their minds. They're seeing it being used, they're seeing it in books, they hear people, they hear the intonations of what people are saying, and it's all been starting to build and construct the knowledge of a language there. When children are ready, they move into the early production phase, which is about 1,000 words that they would recognize. And they might start to give 1 or 2 word phrases when they're responding to a question or they're trying to initiate a conversation. This then moves into speech emergence, which is about 3,000 words. And your children would start then at this point to make simple sentences. And then we move into intermediate fluency and then advanced fluency, where their language is starting then to translate or transition into the CALP aspect. So how your child moves through these phases, how fast your child moves through the phases, depends on a few different things. It's very much down to their confidence, their personality, their experience of home, what kind of reading, what kind of interactions are happening, things like that. And that's sort of the basis of how they're going to start learning their language. So the more involved we are with their language, hopefully the easier it is too. So that's just a little bit about language acquisition. I could talk all day about it for sure. Then some information about STEAM programs. So in pre-K, we're going to be having 2 big STEAM programs. So they're going to run parallel to the current program of inquiry that we're using. So in term 1, which is between now and I think the end of January, start of February, the children will be studying how people use the design cycle to explore and create. So this is going to be an engineering unit. And then in the second half of the year, we're going to move in towards technology. So they'll be studying up on how technology constantly evolves our way of thinking and doing. So within both of these, the children are going to be starting to work and build their skills of communication, thinking, and socialization as well. For engineering, they will be developing things like their makerspace in the classroom, where they are exploring, tinkering, creating, and starting to wonder about how things are put together and made. Whereas in technology, we'll be looking at technologies that we have around us, how they're formed and how they help us in our world today. And we'll also have an aspect on coding as well through the use of BBots, which we're very excited about. Children absolutely love that one. There's also information on this slide about how the program develops as well. This slide will of course be sent to you, so I won't spend much time today thinking about KG1 and then of course our KG2, but it's built on the foundation of what they start in pre-K, and it's expanding outwards and bigger. So as we come towards the end of the presentation, there are a few important dates that we have coming up. So on the 5th of September, there will be a KG1 and KG2 meet the parent teacher session. And tomorrow, Thursday, the teachers are going to be sending you a link for you to join this session next week. And of course, the pre-K one for you guys will be on the 6th of September between 5 and 6 p.m. And the venue for that will be Teams. So again, the teachers will send the link tomorrow in their weekly emails. During September and October, I'm hoping to run some, probably later September into October, we'll be doing some information sessions. We're going to look at PYP in the early years, so what's happening for our children in the early years and how we run a program. We're also going to look at supporting reading at home and emerging writing, 2 very big skills, especially because we are a bilingual language school. So that's all from me at the moment. I'm going to hand you back to Amina. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you all in the flesh soon.
So we've reached the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for attending. We didn't have barely any questions just regarding the stickers. They are available at the reception if you didn't receive them in your in the bag of your child. We tried to contact some parents yesterday, but obviously we couldn't reach anyone. Some of you, so please just go to reception and ask for your stickers. Thank you so much. We're there every morning in the lobby, so if you have any questions, we're there. And remember, you teachers, they know the most about your children. Thank you.